Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the June edition of our Catch Up with Keeper webinar series. Thank you all so much for joining us today. While we wait for everyone to join, would love if folks could pop on in the chat and let us know where you are calling in from. I myself am in Orlando, Florida, for BKX, so I suspect some of the usual attendees may be actually downstairs in the exhibit hall right about now. Always love to see all the folks from all the different states and from quite a few different provinces north of the border. As is our custom, we're going to give folks about a minute or so to go ahead and file one in, and then we'll get things started. All right. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get things started. So once again, thank you all so much for taking the time today. It is a pleasure to be with you this Tuesday morning. And we have some really good updates for y'all. I think you're going to be very excited with what we have to show. So in case this is your first ever Catch Up with Keeper webinar, the way these work is we start with a walkthrough of all of the new features in Keeper, the latest and greatest, and we have some new late great features. And then we will open things up to some Q&A. Sometimes we have an app showcase. This time we do not. So we will just wrap things up after the Q&A. And speaking of Q&A, please ask your questions in the Q&A section at the bottom. That will make sure that we get to those and make sure your questions get answered. All right, and with that, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and dive on in. Okay, so first update. I saw Jody in the chat, so I get to give her another little shout out here. We just released our new community templates. So community templates are our way to give you the opportunity to share and borrow from other folks in the community. So now we have a few checklists provided by some great firms, Houston Strong, Springstead, and the LSC Group. And basically what these are is they're checklists that you can use and bring into your firm. So Springstead Solutions, for example, has one on new client setup. And you can see basically you have all of these tasks here with full fidelity subtasks. And what you can do is you can copy a template into your firm. There's going to be a mapping step here. So like the sections that they have in their practice, you may need to change to match your practice here. Like client setup, we may call onboarding, gather and save statements. We may not have ones. We may just map it to like data entry, for example. And then you can also choose if you want to import your non-closing tasks in your client questions tags. We'll go ahead and actually, I guess we'll just not import these. And then Springstead example. And then you bring it in, add that in, and then you have your template. And then at this point, it functions just like a regular template. So you can modify it at this point. You can remove things that aren't relevant. And of course, you can apply it to your clients so that you can start using that template. All right, that's community templates. Next on the list, super excited to share. This is a feature out in beta, although it's an open beta, so anyone can try it if you want. So in your add or remove columns now, you now have a few new options in your financials. You've got revenue, net income, gross profit. and more lines coming soon. But so just to show you what this looks like, you can see here, what we show is we show a just revenue or net income or gross profit snapshot so that you can see all of your clients, who is profitable, who has the most revenue or the most net income. So for example, if you just wanted to sort descending your clients by most profitable to least profitable, you can just do that right here on the client list and see all of your clients' data. This is super helpful for understanding things like doing things like proactive advisory. So just being able to note different revenue figures or profit figures, so that if those dip out of your expected bands, that you can proactively reach out. And it's also a really good tool when it comes to renewal season, so that you can see how your clients' profit has changed, whether they might be able to afford a price increase, or maybe whether their revenue has grown, and that means more work for you, which means you might need to justify a price increase as well. So yeah, super excited. Financials on the client list. It's in beta now. So excited to hear what y'all think, and if you have other things you'd like to see added to the dashboard. All right. And next little feature I'm going to pop into a Xero file to talk about is not a little feature for the folks in Xero, but an important one. And that is we now have cash basis in Xero. So if you want to turn this on, go to any of your Xero clients, open up the client settings, these three dots, client settings, and then switch that to cash basis. That will run your P&L and your balance sheet in cash basis. I think there's a couple other reports that may change. But yeah, cash basis in Xero. I know long awaited for the folks who use Xero. All right. And last, but certainly not least, it's finally here. Keeper now supports archiving clients. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what that process looks like, what it means to archive a client, where you can find your archive clients, and yeah. Okay, so let's talk about archiving a client. For starters, the way you do that, you can only do this if you're an admin and super admin. So you click this arrow over here on the left, and then scroll over to the right where you would normally delete a client. And then you can choose to either still delete them, or you can choose to archive them. This is a lot of text that you should actually read before you archive a client. The basic thing to note is it's going to convert that client's file state in Keeper to read-only. So it's going to break the connection to QuickBooks or Xero. It's going to convert them to read-only. It won't let you make any future changes to any of the data there except for client properties. So because client properties sort of is more about how you manage your sort of client details, but like tasks you won't be able to edit. All your questions will be marked as resolved. So this is a great solution for if your like client disengages, you can archive them. And then the one thing to note here is if you archive if you archive a connected client, when you reconnect them, you are charged a prorated fee for the remaining amount of the time on the subscription. So for example, if you're halfway through your billing cycle, you get charged $5 to re-add the client. Just to show really quickly, I don't want to archive my demo file, but I will archive a random sample cleanup client here. So if you archive this client, when you archive them, we'll see now here we've got, oh no, did I turn on the setting? Oh, sample, not simple. So you'll see all your clients have this sort of archived banner here. One other thing to note is when a client file is archived, the portal also, because all the questions get resolved, they just see basically a place to download all of their files. And then a couple other things I'll mention here. In your archived clients, you can now see all your archived clients in your all client settings. And then you have this option here. But so by default, archive clients will still show on your client list, but you can uncheck this and then they will get hidden from your client list. All right. And I believe that is everything on archiving clients. So yeah, I'm excited to finally be able to get this into the wild for y'all. All right, to a few other smaller improvements, bits and bobs, odds and ends. First is we added a count of your clients here on the left. This is really helpful just as a quick indicator of if you wanted to see, for example, how many clients are you to prepare for? Oh, that's 3. Or how many clients are in a particular service tier, for example, or how many clients are in progress on the close. Just makes it really easy to see that information right here. All right, and now into the close for a few other additional improvements. All right, next is in your non-closing tags. We have finally cleaned up the tags here in your non-closing task sections. So these now, in case any of you have never clicked these, if you click them, this will filter for only your year-end tasks, or only your ops tasks, or only your ad hoc tasks, and so on. And so we actually clean this up. So now this will only show the tag, if you have a task tagged here. So if we have daily bill data entry tagged with quotes, for example, quotes will now show up. If you never have a tag applied to a particular section, those will no longer show. Just makes the UI that much cleaner and less cluttered. One other thing that you can also do on your non-closing tasks is you can now take recurring tasks and stop them from recurring. So this is a daily recurring bill entry task. If we don't want this to recur anymore, you can just click this X right here, and then that will clear out the due date. All right, few little improvements in receipts as well. So next here is you can now duplicate receipts files. So if we've got this type form transaction, and maybe this actually should be, it was split into 2 payments, we wanted to duplicate the expense, for example, or duplicate the document. Super easy way to do that. You just click more and duplicate, or you can also do that from here. Sorry, these 3 dots, duplicate transaction file. And then basically you just choose what you want to name it. Let's duplicate here so that this is easy to see. And then you'll see you get this just duplicate file right here down below, exact same file. And that way you can post each one to either 2 separate expenses or match them to 2 different transactions. So yeah, we can now duplicate those. And then second is a few of y'all mentioned this on the Facebook group, so appreciate this feedback. Folks were wondering where you can go to see your client's feedback, your client's notes and details after you've posted a transaction. And so the place to see that is your posted transactions table. So you click this button right here. And then if there are notes, you can see anything that has notes. And then you can just click this to see all of those notes here. So for example, if your client forwarded an email to you, you would see that in the notes section right here. All right, and last but not least, one other little minor improvement is we now show your related clients first here at the top in the client switcher before we show all of your clients. So what a related client is it's a client that shares a contact. So here, for example, ben.stein at keeper.app is a contact in DemoCo and also a contact in 1801 Brands and Blue Light Holdings and Canada's Great and so on and so forth. So all of those files just show up first here for ease of access. But of course, you can really easily type in here, we want to go to Marshall's Bridal, for example, and then switch over to any client that you want. Okay, and with that, that is officially all of the updates that we have to share this month. So at this point, I can see quite a few chats and quite a few Q&As. So I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to some Q&A. Okay, Casey asked, we've always just deleted clients in the past. Now with the archive feature, I imagine we should always just archive just in case rather than delete, same outcome, but at least it's recoverable if circumstances change. Broadly, yes. There's not a whole lot of reasons to delete clients, especially if you think they might be coming back or you think you might want to reference that data later. You can always archive a client and then delete them later. If you just don't want the data in there, deletion is still an option. But yeah, if a client disengages, broadly speaking, that's one of the main reasons why we built archiving. Lisa asked, how do you set the date ranges for the financial view? So these date ranges are not currently customizable, although we do have two options. So there is last month and last 12 months. And so you can choose which columns you want to show here. So if we only wanted to show last 12 months, we could just select those columns here. But these date ranges are otherwise not customizable. Andrea asked, what happens to transaction questions when you archive a client? All questions when you archive a client are marked as resolved. So that's transaction questions, non-transaction questions, and inbound questions. And additionally, all recurring questions are unscheduled. For clients archived, Juan asked, for clients archived previous to this feature, will we be able to access them? I assume this means like the previous process where you could write into chat and then like have us change a QBO connected file to an unconnected file. If that's the case, yes. So you should still be able to access them. This wouldn't change that. Julie asked, does archiving remove them from your billing, or do we still need to request that from support? Archiving does remove them from your billing. So it is, from a billing perspective, the same as deleting a client. Okay, seeing a couple of questions come in here about clients, what the client portal experience looks like for archived clients. So let me go ahead and archive. I'll archive Florida test facilities. So, okay, this is Florida test. Let's do Canada's great. Okay, this is Canada's great here. This is what a client file looks like that is archived. Or sorry, that's not archived. This one has not been archived. And then if we go ahead and archive Canada is great. And now we go ahead and refresh the page. You'll see basically all they see is their files here. So if they have access to any files, they can download them here. And actually, one other thing that I forgot to mention that I will mention here is in your portal announcements, we actually have a third announcement type called archived client portal announcement. So here you can say like, thank you for your business. If you have any other questions, please email like help at Keeper, for example. And if you have this announcement message on, then your clients will also see that announcement message in the portal. They should. May be getting weird because I have multiple client files. Interesting. Okay. Well, we will have to look into that. So not sure why that one is not showing up, but yeah, normally that will show an announcement. So I'll have to make a note of that and we will get that fixed. Laura asked, is there a canny to assign multiple people to a task? I.e. a bookkeeper is assigned to tasks with a date and the account manager is also assigned as a second pass reviewer. There is a canny. I believe it's called something like prepare a reviewer on tasks. And it is something that we're also working on. So if you add your vote to it, we will let you know as soon as that goes live. Julie asked, how do I get one contact added to multiple accounts? Great question. So you go to your client portal and then all contacts. And here, for example, if we've got Ben S right now only has access to DemoCo, and then we just click here and we give them access to any other files they should have access to. Bev asked, is the ability to enter an expense as an item rather than an account in the works? The answer is yes. That is also something that we are working on. Christina brings up a good point that I actually experienced myself today, which is in receipts, can you add a way so that you can delete a file while you were previewing it instead of needing to back out and delete it from the main page or from the main table? The answer is yes, we should definitely add an option for that. Sue said, I archived a client, but they are still showing on my client list. If that is the case, and you want that not to be the case, go to your all client settings, archive clients, and uncheck this checkbox right here. Taylor asked for financials on the client list. Is year-to-date coming? Yes, we are working on adding some more, lots more columns, including year-to-date. Andrea asked, so when you disconnect a client from QBO Xero, the transaction questions do not disappear. Confirmed, they do not disappear. So if we go to, we just archived candidate is great. Let's see, yeah, okay. So here you can see we had 2 transaction questions and you can still see both questions, what we asked and what was answered. So all of that data is restored or is preserved here in an archive. So yeah, you don't lose any data when you're archiving clients. Lisa asked about how clients know whether they have already asked a question in the portal after you have answered them or addressed them, or after I paraphrase and now I'm eating Lisa's words here. Okay, my clients are struggling with knowing whether they have already asked me a question in the portal because after I've answered or addressed these, I mark it as resolved. Suggestions. It's a good question. My suggestion is actually not to mark it as resolved. So essentially, the way, if we actually go to demo code here, the way questions from clients works is it's default filtered to just what's waiting for you. So once you respond, you can just respond and leave it open. And then it sort of like doesn't show up in your inbox here because you just see like all the new questions that are waiting for you. So that would be my recommendation there. And then basically the onus is on the client to go ahead and mark it resolved when they feel like you've addressed their question. Tiffany asked thoughts on when we'll be able to search receipts based on dimension. I am pretty sure you can do that today. So yeah, you just click this filter option here, 35, 65. That will filter here for type form. That will filter here for software. Yeah, let's do like Ashby here. So yeah, basically the big thing is it's this search box up here above the and then of course you have filters here. An anonymous attendee asked, when looking at posted transactions, how can we double check that each transaction has been successfully matched to QBO or is still outstanding? I'm not sure I'm following this question here. So if anonymous attendee could reveal themselves and or like add clarification, I can add some more insight to this answer. You cannot filter receipts by file name, but you can search receipts by file name. So for example, if you wanted to see anything that has like receipt in the name, you can search for receipt, and then that will filter that here. Kate asked for templates. Are non-admin users able to apply a template? The answer is no, but we are working on some better permissions to change that answer. So stay posted. I meant, can we search posted receipts based on dimension? Um, okay, so yeah, posted transactions. Tiffany asked for more clarification on how we can search for anything that was posted to admin. This is, again, still doable today. You just would filter for admin in this case. And then that would be all your receipts that have been posted to admin. John asked, it will be helpful to assign the overall close file to an individual consistent with the overall status. I think this is something that could be on the roadmap. John, I'm not sure if you know about Prepare Reviewer Manager, but that is sort of the primary reason for this. So if you basically what this will let you do, you can choose different roles here, and in these roles you can that's sort of you can identify these as like owners, for example, if you wanted to call them that. And then in your practice settings, if you don't have this enabled, it's in your practice and statements tasks. You can turn on, we call these close assignees, prepare reviewer manager. And if you want to call these something different, you can just choose override assignee labels and then choose different options here. Erica asked for any updates on hiding or turning off the 1099 section for non-US based clients. So this should already be, I think there was a bug that was like temporarily causing the 1099s report to get added. So if you don't service US clients and you're seeing that report, feel free to delete it. I think that that bug should be fixed. If you are still experiencing it when you're adding new clients, please let us know and just write in the chat and we can fix that for you as well. Okay, Jeremiah asked, in practice settings, there is a global footnote for all pages. Is there a way to have that footnote only appear on the final page of the printed reports rather than all pages? The answer to that is no, although it's an interesting idea. So what Jeremiah is talking about is you have a footnotes option here. Where? Legal disclaimers, it's called. So you have an option to add all pages footer and then also the cover page. So you can add one to the cover page, but not to the final page at this time. Christina asked, will we be adding any options to delete views so if you are essentially the way views work is if you're the creator of the view, you're the only one who can delete them. So yeah, we are going to work on a way so super admins can delete any views rather than just needing to be only the creator. Christina asked, is there a way or will there be a way to make something repeat multiple times in a single week? Definitely something that that we can add support for. So yeah, best place to vocalize that's in the K&A, and we'll check for that and definitely get working on that as well. Okay. Yausi asked if we have an app for keeper receipts. Not yet, but I should have some very exciting news soon on that front. Linda asked, will receipts ever branch into including deposits? Definitely. Yes, this is something that we're actively working on. Lisa asked, do clients see questions that they have resolved, but not ones that we resolved? I think this is probably an important point to demonstrate here. If you are, so there are three types of questions. There's transaction questions, questions from non-transaction questions, and questions for us. In your transaction questions and your non-transaction questions, these are initiated by the accountant or by the bookkeeper. And so you ask them, the clients answer them, and then you resolve them. Questions for us runs the other way. The client asks them, you answer them, and then the clients resolve them. As a result, the clients can also see any resolved questions that they previously asked here as well. Okay, Yausi asked, all right, when a document has several pages and a client is trying to send them via text as one document, can they do that? Essentially, what they would do is if you're sending it by text, you would just take multiple pictures. I mean, I guess you could also use a PDF scanner on your phone, but more commonly, what a client would do is take multiple pictures. And so you would get multiple pictures showing up in your client uploads inbox. And then what you could do here is you could just take both of those and then merge them in as a single file. Terry asked, do you have any plans to integrate email so we can tag emails to a bookkeeper for a task easily? Yes, this is something our team is very excited to support. So should have some more news later this year on that front. The menu that shows up. I'm not sure I'm following some of your most recent questions, some of the more recent questions that are coming through. So if I don't answer your question, it is because I couldn't quite grok it. But feel free to send a follow-up, and we will get you a personalized answer there as well. Jody asked, or I guess maybe Erica asked, Hughes and Strong asked, any update coming for user types beyond super admin, admin, and standard? Yes, I think I alluded to this a little bit in terms of other people who might be able to apply templates. Yes, more an additional sort of role between admin and standard should be coming soon. Andrea asked, is there a way to have the business information in Keeper so that when we export to 1099s, it will pre-fill that info? I expect this is something we will have by January of 2025. So not something that we have today, but definitely something we'll plan to add soon. Okay. Kate asked, sorry if already covered. A client tends to send multiple receipts as a single file. What is the best way to handle these? Right now, I would probably just duplicate them and then basically post the whole file to multiple different transactions. And going forward, we're working on a splitting feature to allow you to essentially take each page and break them out into separate files. Natasha asked, can all users see and access firm tasks? The answer is yes. Jody asked, or sorry, Erica or Jody, Houston Strong Consulting asked, now that templates have become more versatile, how close are we to getting templates for firm task sections? Definitely something that we are working on. I feel like sometimes I'm just like saying, yep, definitely something we're working on, but that is something we are very much clocking. Julie asks, just for clarification, when you archive a client, this breaks the QBO link. That is correct. Christina asked if there's a way to add vendor rules. And folks, I want to mention here, the Q&A is like a great place to have questions answered. And if you're fringe on like whether this is something is something we can do today in Keeper, I would encourage you to ask it. If this is something that you just would like to make sure that we add to Keeper, the Q&A in the live chat is like not usually the best answer, not usually the best format for that, unless you would want to hear the answer like not yet, but we can work on it. So much better venue for that would be our Canny feature voting tool, which we check daily and use to guide our product prioritization. So with that in mind, receipts, can we add an option to incorporate can we add an option to incorporate the terms like when a bill ought to be due into the vendor rules? Definitely something that we can work on. And so if you add the vote there in Candy, we'll prioritize it accordingly. All right. Mary asked, any plans for a client to send a question with a CC to another member on the team? For example, the owner always wants to be CC'd on questions the office manager sends. Great question. We definitely have some more a lot of plumbing level improvements planned for the portal that may unlock functionality like that. What I will mention is if you do not enable assignable questions on a file, everyone can see the inbound questions sent. So if the office manager writes in, then the owner will still be able to see that. Okay, Cecily asked where you can find the Canny. Great question. It is keeperapp.canny.io. And this is our user voting platform. This is also where we publish our change logs. So I will drop that in the chat. Jared asks, is it possible to set up different practice emails for different clients? The answer is not currently, but as I think I alluded to earlier, we are working on some more flexibility with email integrations coming soon. Okay, and Christina asked, how do clients see their financial reports when you archive a client? I believe these should show up here, but we'll poke around and follow up. I believe those should show up in your files in the archived state. Mary asked in the portal, how do we see who on our team sent the response? We also struggle to find timestamp. We should have some very good updates for you, Mary, in the next like month or so. Is all I can say about that. Okay. All right. Tiffany asked, can you export documents after searching for them by dimension in receipts? The answer is a definite maybe. We can find out together. Okay, it is not today, but definitely something we could work on. So yeah, it does not look like we can export out of the posted transactions table at the moment. But it's a good idea. All right. I think that is pretty much everything. So we'll give folks another 60 seconds or so to pile in with any last minute questions before we wrap up. All right, great. Well, with that, we are going to draw our Catch Up with Keeper webinar for June to a close. So thank you. Please come by and say hi. I will be at the booth. But if not, I look forward to seeing many of you, hopefully at some of the conferences to come this season. But if not, on a Zoom or somewhere else sometime very soon. All right. Bye, everyone.